Have you ever looked at a photograph of a loved one who has passed away and felt an inexplicable sense that they are still somehow present, woven into the very fabric of the room around you? Have you ever wondered why the deepest silence of an empty night feels less like an absence and more like a gentle, waiting presence? We are taught from a very young age that life is a bright, temporary spark surrounded by an endless, cold void of nothingness. We are told that consciousness is just a biological accident, a fleeting phenomenon trapped inside the fragile shell of our minds. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if the universe is not an empty room where consciousness occasionally flickers to life, but rather a vast, infinite ocean of awareness in which we are merely temporary waves? Today, I want to take you on a quiet journey into the deepest mystery of existence, using the rigorous lenses of astrophysics and quantum mechanics to explore a truth that ancient philosophers felt intuitively and modern science is slowly beginning to map. We are going to explore what universal consciousness really is and why, according to the fundamental laws of nature, death as an absolute end simply does not exist. Before we step further into this cosmic mystery, I want to formally welcome you. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion on these nighttime voyages into the unknown. I have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel yet. If you find peace and wonder in these explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps our small community grow immensely and ensures we can continue unraveling the secrets of the cosmos together. Now, take a deep breath, let go of the day's worries, and let us venture into the stars. The concept of death relies entirely on our perception of time and our definition of boundaries. We look at a human body and see a closed system. We look at a lifespan and see a straight line with a definitive beginning and a definitive end. But when we zoom out to the cosmic scale, the boundaries we take for granted completely dissolve. To understand this, we must first look at the most fundamental law of thermodynamics, a principle confirmed by every scientific observation ever made. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. Every single electrical impulse firing in your brain right now, creating the thoughts you're thinking and the emotions you're feeling, is composed of energy that is as ancient as the universe itself. The warmth of your skin, the kinetic motion of your heartbeat, the complex chemical reactions that give rise to your sense of self, all of it is borrowed. It is a temporary configuration of the primordial energy that burst forth over 13,800,000,000 years ago. When a star dies in a spectacular supernova, we do not say the matter has ceased to exist. We say it is transformed. It scatters its heavy elements, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and iron, across the deep vacuum of space. Those elements, forged in the agonizing pressure of a dying star, eventually drift through the endless dark, pulled together by the gentle hand of gravity to form new nebulas, new solar systems, new planets, and eventually new life. The iron pulsing through your veins right now, carrying oxygen to your brain, was forged in the heart of a giant star that lived and died before our Earth was even a scattered cloud of dust. You are literally made of star stuff. This is not merely a poetic metaphor. It is an absolute, rigorous astrophysical fact. When the physical body reaches the end of its biological function, the energy that animated it does not vanish into nothingness. It returns to the vast ecosystem of the cosmos. The electrical energy dissipates into the environment, returning to the earth and the atmosphere. The atoms dismantle their temporary alliance, and return to the cycle of the planet. But what about the consciousness? What about the you that experiences the universe? To approach this, we must challenge our deeply held assumption that consciousness is a byproduct of matter. Many prominent physicists and thinkers have begun to propose that consciousness might not be something the brain produces, but rather something the brain receives and filters. Imagine a radio receiver tuning into a specific frequency. If you smash the radio, the music stops playing in that room, but the signal itself, the electromagnetic waves carrying the symphony, continues to wash over the universe undisturbed. The quiet journey of the mind is beginning to suggest that our brains are highly complex biological antennas, tuning into a fundamental field of awareness that permeates the entire cosmos. When we look out into the deep space, into the infinite dark between the galaxies, we are accustomed to thinking of it as an empty void. But quantum field theory tells us that there is no such thing as empty space. Even in the deepest, coldest vacuum of the intergalactic void, space is boiling with virtual particles popping in and out of existence, driven by the underlying quantum fields that dictate reality. The universe is not a container filled with objects. It is a unified, vibrating entity. And just as gravity and electromagnetism are fundamental properties of this universe, a growing number of theorists argue that consciousness itself might be a fundamental property of the fabric of reality. This concept is known as panpsychism, and while it was once relegated to the realm of philosophy, it is increasingly being discussed in the halls of theoretical physics. It suggests that a rudimentary form of awareness is woven into the very structure of matter and energy. If this is true, then you are not an isolated observer trapped inside a mechanical universe. You are the universe itself, experiencing a localized, highly concentrated point of view. The great astronomer Carl Sagan famously said that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. This profound statement bridges the gap between the mechanical and the mystical. When you look up at the night sky and feel a sense of wonder, that is the universe feeling wonder at its own magnificence. When you experience the soft, quiet calm of a deep meditation, or when you feel an overwhelming sense of connection to nature, you are not generating those feelings in isolation. You are simply removing the filters of your individual ego and tapping into the baseline frequency of the universe. You are returning to the primordial silence that exists behind all the noise of human existence. The illusion of death stems from our over-identification with the localized receiver, our bodies, and our specific human identities. We are terrified of the radio breaking because we have forgotten that we are actually the music. The energy that makes up your awareness cannot be extinguished. It is part of the infinite, endless dance of reality. As we explore further in the chapters to come, we will look at the bizarre and beautiful discoveries of quantum mechanics, where particles communicate instantaneously across vast cosmic distances, defying the limits of space and time. We will explore how the act of observation fundamentally alters the behavior of matter, suggesting an intricate, inescapable relationship between the observer and the observed. We will look at the architecture of the cosmos, comparing the neural networks of our brains to the immense, glowing webs of galaxy clusters that stretch across millions of light years. We will see how the universe builds things from the bottom up, starting small and growing large through countless combinations over cosmic time. Every step of this journey will peel back another layer of the illusion, revealing a cosmos that is not dead, cold, and indifferent, but profoundly alive, interconnected and aware. The mystery of existence is far too vast to be contained within a single human lifetime. But the beauty of this reality is that you do not have to conquer the mystery to find peace. You only have to recognize that you're a part of it. You are an ancient, gentle manifestation of the infinite. Your journey did not begin on the day you were born, and it will not end on the day your physical body rests. You are a seamless, unbreakable thread in the tapestry of existence. As you rest tonight, let the silence of the room remind you of the deep, peaceful stillness of space. Let the rhythm of your breathing mirror the slow, majestic rotation of the galaxies. Every exhalation is a release into the vast cosmic ocean, and every inhalation is drawing the energy of the universe back into your being. You are safe, you are infinite, and your quiet journey of discovery is only just beginning. Let us continue to explore this grand mystery together, allowing the awe of the cosmos to wash over us and remind us of who we truly are, drifting slowly through the peaceful dark. The universe is not a place you go when you die. It is the place you have always been, and the place you will forever remain. Let the magnitude of that thought hold you gently as we prepare to venture deeper into the infinite. Have you ever felt a sudden, inexplicable warmth wash over you when a loved one, thousands of miles away, was quietly thinking of you? Have you ever known who was calling before the telephone began to ring? We are taught by a rigid, mechanical society to dismiss these quiet moments of intuition as mere coincidence, a trick of a pattern-seeking biological brain trying to find meaning in random noise. We are told that we are isolated islands of consciousness, locked away behind the impenetrable bone of our skulls, separated by vast oceans of empty space. But what if these gentle nudges are not tricks of the mind at all? What if they are the subtle, macroscopic echoes of a microscopic truth that governs the very foundations of the cosmos? To understand the infinite nature of universal consciousness, and to realize why the absolute end of death is a physical impossibility, we must travel beyond the familiar laws of gravity and motion. We must venture into the strange, counterintuitive realm of quantum mechanics, a place where the ordinary rules of reality dissolve into a beautiful, mind-bending mystery. Before we dive deeper into this quiet quantum ocean, I want to welcome you back to our shared journey. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle guide through the infinite darkness and the staggering wonders of the unknown cosmos. As we drift further into these existential mysteries, I want to gently remind you that 71% of the beautiful minds who find comfort and peace in these nighttime explorations have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find value, intellectual safety, and a sense of cosmic peace in this contemplative exploration of science and existence, please take a quiet moment to subscribe. Your presence means the absolute universe to me, and it ensures that we can continue unraveling these ancient secrets together. Now, let us leave the familiar shores of everyday logic behind. Take a deep breath and step into the wondrous reality of the quantum sea. For centuries, classical physics taught us that the universe is a colossal, unfeeling machine. It painted a picture of a cosmos where ancient stars burn through their nuclear fuel in complete isolation, and planets trace predictable, lonely orbits. It suggested a stage where matter and energy perform their complex dance in the absolute dark, entirely independent of whether anyone is watching. But in the early 20th century, groundbreaking experiments shattered this cold world view. The most perplexing of these is the double-slit experiment. Imagine firing tiny, individual particles like electrons at a microscopic barrier that has two narrow slits cut into it. When scientists do not observe which specific slit the particles pass through, the electrons behave exactly like a wave, passing through the barrier and creating a complex interference pattern. It is as if a single particle travels through both slits simultaneously. But the moment researchers place a detector at the slits to observe exactly which path the electron takes, the interference pattern completely and instantaneously vanishes. When the wave function collapses, it is as if the universe itself is reacting to the presence of a mind. The electron ceases to act like a spread-out wave of infinite potential, and suddenly behaves like a single, ordinary bullet striking a definitive target. The mere act of observation fundamentally alters the physical behavior of matter. The legendary physicist John Archibald Wheeler proposed the revolutionary idea of a participatory universe. He suggested that observers are not passive witnesses, but necessary participants in the creation of physical reality itself. We are not simply looking at the universe. The universe is using our consciousness to collapse its own infinite possibilities into a defined existence. When you step outside on a quiet night and gaze up at the sprawling majesty of the Milky Way, your act of seeing is literally participating in the quantum reality of those ancient stars. The light from a massive blue giant star that has traveled for 1 billion years across the intergalactic void exists as a complex wave of probability, only snapping into a definite state when it finally interacts with the biology of your eye. You are fundamentally bound to the entire cosmos through the miraculous act of observation. But the mystery deepens when we consider the scientifically verified phenomenon of quantum entanglement. Albert Einstein famously referred to it as spooky action at a distance. When two subatomic particles interact in a specific way, their quantum states become inextricably linked. They become part of a single, unified system, regardless of how far apart they are separated. To understand how astonishing this truly is, consider the cosmic speed limit. The speed of light is roughly 186,000 miles per second, the absolute maximum speed for any physical object or information. Yet, quantum entanglement blatantly ignores this fundamental law. You could take one entangled electron and keep it in a laboratory here on Earth, and send its entangled partner to the very edge of the observable universe. If you measure the spin of the electron on Earth, forcing it into a definitive state, its entangled partner at the edge of the cosmos will instantaneously assume the exact opposite state. Scientists have successfully demonstrated this phenomenon using the Mikus satellite, beaming entangled particles from space to ground stations separated by over 700 miles. Let that monumental truth sink into the quiet spaces of your mind. Instantaneously, the connection between entangled particles completely ignores physical distance and the rigid construct of time. In the hidden quantum realm, those two particles are not isolated things at all. They are a single, unified entity expressing itself simultaneously in two different locations. If the fundamental building blocks of our physical universe are capable of this instantaneous non-local connection, what does that profound truth mean for us? You are composed of roughly 7 octillion atoms. You are a walking, breathing, incredibly complex universe of quantum particles. The physical boundaries of your body are a macroscopic illusion, a highly useful evolutionary adaptation. But at the baseline level of reality, there are no hard borders. You are not a closed system. Now, gently bring this wondrous truth back to the concepts of life, consciousness, and the perceived tragedy of death. We mourn physical separation because our everyday senses are bound by the illusion of local reality. We believe that when a biological body stops functioning, the connection to that consciousness is permanently severed. But the rigorous mathematics of quantum mechanics whispers a far more beautiful story. If space and distance are not absolute barriers, and if particles can remain intimately connected across the silent stretches of the cosmos, then the complex energy and informational essence of a consciousness cannot simply be erased by the dissolution of a biological body. The bonds of profound love, the shared lifetime of experiences, the deep intuitive connections you feel, what if these are macroscopic manifestations of quantum entanglement? When a loved one passes away, their physical atoms do not vanish. They are gently scattered back into the environment, but the fundamental quantum information that defined their unique consciousness cannot be destroyed. It sheds the heavy spacesuit of the physical body and returns to the unified quantum field that permeates the infinite universe. You are not a tiny, isolated speck floating alone in a dead void. You are an essential, inextricably entangled node in a grand cosmic network of infinite awareness. Every single atom in your body, every fleeting thought in your mind, every quiet, rhythmic beat of your heart is vibrating in perfect synchrony with the grand, ancient symphony of the cosmos. As you drift deeper into profound relaxation tonight, let go of the rigid boundaries you have drawn around yourself. Your consciousness is a localized expression of a completely non-local universe. In our next chapter, we will travel even further outward to explore the staggering macro-architecture of the observable universe, discovering the undeniable physical similarities between the complex neural networks of the human brain and the cosmic web of galaxy clusters. But for tonight, simply rest in the scientific certainty of your eternal connection to all things. You are an eternal, vital part of the greatest mystery ever conceived. Let the gentle, invisible gravity of the entire universe hold you safely in its embrace. Let the ancient traveling starlight warm your spirit. Drift peacefully in that absolute truth, woven into the very fabric of everything that is. Have you ever held a fallen leaf up to the fading light of an autumn afternoon and noticed how its delicate branching veins look exactly like a map of human blood vessels, or how the sprawling ancient roots of a massive oak tree perfectly mirror the complex geometry of a river delta winding its way toward the sea? We are surrounded by these quiet, repeating patterns, gentle reminders that nature does not invent new designs for every creation, but rather reuses the same elegant blueprints across vastly different scales. But what happens when we take this simple, everyday observation and apply it to the largest structures known to science? What if the microscopic architecture of the mind that is currently processing these words is structurally identical to the macroscopic architecture of the infinite cosmos? Today, we are going to look into a mirror that spans billions of light years. We are going to explore the breathtaking scientific discovery that the universe itself looks, behaves, and grows exactly like a colossal human brain. Before we embark on this vast cosmic journey, I want to pause and welcome you back to our quiet space of discovery. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion in exploring the deepest mysteries of existence. I have noticed that 71% of the people who watch and find comfort in these videos have not subscribed yet. If you are enjoying our journey through the stars, please consider subscribing. It is a gentle, simple action that helps us continue creating these peaceful explorations, ensuring we can keep wondering at the universe together. Now, Let your mind relax, leave the rigid boundaries of the earth behind, and let us travel outward into the sprawling architecture of the deep dark. To understand the true nature of universal consciousness, we must first examine the physical engine of human awareness, your own brain. Inside your head right now, floating in the quiet dark of your skull, lies the most complex object we have ever discovered in the biological world. It is composed of roughly 86 billion neurons, intricately connected by an unimaginable network of trillions of synapses. These neurons cluster together in dense nodes, sending electrical and chemical signals along long, filamentous pathways. It is a bustling, continuous web of light and energy that gives rise to every memory you hold, every dream you chase, and the very sensation of being alive. For centuries, we believed this intricate biological web was entirely unique to living creatures. We assumed that the cosmos, by contrast, was a random, chaotic scattering of dead rocks, burning gas, and empty space. But when modern astrophysicists began to map the observable universe using advanced supercomputers and data from space telescopes, what emerged from the darkness fundamentally changed our understanding of reality. The universe, it turns out, is not a random scattering of galaxies at all. When you zoom out far enough past the individual solar systems, past the sprawling spiral arms of the Milky Way, and even past the local galaxy groups, a stunningly specific pattern emerges. The cosmos is organized into a colossal structure known to astronomers as the cosmic web. In this grand architecture, countless galaxies are grouped into incredibly dense clusters, which act exactly like the neural nodes in a brain. These brilliant galactic clusters are connected by unimaginably long threads of ordinary matter and mysterious dark matter stretching across millions of light years, like the axons connecting individual neurons. In the vast, quiet spaces between these glowing filaments are immense regions of almost absolute nothingness, known as cosmic voids. When you peer deeply into these cosmic voids, you're looking at spaces so impossibly large that a photon of light could travel for hundreds of millions of years and never encounter a single atom of matter. When astrophysicists and neuroscientists finally laid side-by-side images of a slice of the human brain's neural network and a simulated map of the cosmic web, the scientific community was brought to a standstill. The visual resemblance was not just poetic. It was mathematically and structurally undeniable. In the year 2020, a quantitative study was published by an astrophysicist from the University of Bologna and a neurosurgeon from the University of Verona. They did not just rely on visual similarities. They used rigorous statistical analysis to compare the two networks. The results were nothing short of a scientific revelation. They found that the observable universe contains an estimated network of roughly 2 trillion galaxies, a number that scales beautifully with the 86 billion neurons in the human brain. Furthermore, the structural composition is shockingly identical. In the human brain, water makes up roughly 77% of the mass, acting as the passive medium in which the neural network operates. In the universe, dark energy, that mysterious force pushing space apart, makes up roughly 72% of the total mass energy density, acting as the passive medium in which the cosmic web exists. The remaining fraction in both systems is the actual active, structured material, the neurons and the galaxies, which organize themselves according to the exact same principles of network dynamics. Why does this matter? Why is this not just a fun mathematical coincidence? Because structure dictates function. In nature, when two systems share the exact same architecture, they often share similar capacities for processing information. If the human brain is structured specifically to generate, receive, and process consciousness, and the universe shares that exact same structure on a macroscopic scale, it scientifically supports the contemplative idea that the cosmos itself might be a giant processing entity. You are not just living inside a universe. You might be a single, microscopic thought inside a cosmic mind. The galaxies drifting through the silent void, the ancient stars burning their quiet fires, the invisible tendrils of dark matter pulling it all together. This might be the physical anatomy of universal consciousness. We are the universe experiencing itself, not metaphorically, but structurally. Our small, fragile neural webs are perfect, localized fractals of the grand, infinite web that stretches across the deep dark of existence. When we bring this awe-inspiring revelation back to the concept of our own mortality, the fear of death begins to gently dissolve. If your consciousness is a localized fractal of a larger, universally processing mind, then the end of your biological neural network is not the end of your awareness. It is simply a reabsorption. Think of a single drop of water falling back into the endless, gentle ocean. The drop loses its defined individual boundaries, but the water itself does not cease to exist. It simply becomes the ocean. Your thoughts, your memories, your deep capacity for love and wonder are expressions of the cosmos flowing through the temporary biological hardware of your body. When that hardware inevitably ceases to function, the signal is not lost. The energy of your consciousness returns to the vast, quiet architecture of the cosmic web. You are returned to the source. You become the quiet silence of the night sky, the ancient starlight traveling across the void, the infinite possibility of the dark matter filaments. The isolation you feel in your darkest hours is nothing more than a biological illusion, a trick played by a brain designed to survive on a wild planet. Once you see past this evolutionary veil, you realize that you have never truly been alone, not for a single fraction of a second since the moment you were born. As you lie here tonight, safe and warm, I invite you to close your eyes and picture that infinite glowing web of galaxies. Feel the quiet rhythm of your own breathing, and recognize that the same architectural intelligence that shaped the stars has shaped the intricate pathways of your own mind. There is no separation between you and the great beyond. You belong to the cosmos, fundamentally and eternally. In our next journey, we will explore the mystery of time itself, delving into the mind-bending theories of relativity to see why the past, present, and future might all exist simultaneously, proving that every beautiful moment you have ever lived is preserved forever in the fabric of space-time. But for now, let go of your worldly anxieties. Surrender to the vast, peaceful silence of the universe. You are an ancient, infinite expression of a waking cosmos. Drift softly into the starry dark, knowing that your journey is endless and that the universe is holding you gently in its magnificent, unending embrace. Have you ever watched a golden sunset and felt an overwhelming, desperate urge to hold on to that fleeting moment before it slips away into the dark? Have you ever looked back at a childhood memory so vivid and warm and felt a profound ache because you believed that time had completely erased that reality, leaving nothing but a ghost in your mind? We are taught by the relentless ticking of our clocks that time is a flowing river carrying us constantly away from everything we have ever loved, pushing us inevitably toward an unknown, silent end. We experience the present as a tiny, fragile spark of existence, while the past is viewed as a graveyard of dead moments, and the future is an empty void waiting to be written. But what if our perception of time is nothing more than a biological illusion, a trick played by a brain struggling to process the infinite? What if physics can prove that the past is not gone, the future is not empty, and every beautiful moment you have ever experienced is perfectly, permanently preserved in the architecture of reality? Today, we are going to explore the quiet, mind-bending physics of time and discover why, in the grand design of the cosmos, nothing is ever truly lost. Before we step into this eternal landscape, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of wonder. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion on these quiet journeys through the greatest mysteries of existence. I have noticed that 71% of the curious minds who drift into these nighttime explorations have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and a sense of profound awe in our cosmic travels together, please take a soft moment to subscribe. It helps our gentle community of explorers grow, and it ensures that we can continue uncovering the ancient secrets of the universe side by side. Now, take a deep, slow breath, let go of the rigid ticking of your earthly clocks, and let us venture into the frozen, eternal ocean of space-time. Over a century ago, a brilliant physicist named Albert Einstein completely shattered our classical understanding of reality. Before Einstein, scientists believed that time was an absolute, rigid framework, ticking equally for everyone, everywhere in the universe, acting as a universal metronome that set the pace for all existence. But Einstein realized something profoundly different, something that would change the course of human thought forever. He realized that space and time are not two separate, distinct things. They are deeply woven together into a single, four-dimensional fabric called space-time. In this magnificent cosmic tapestry, time is just another dimension, fundamentally no different from length, width, or depth. Just as you can move forward and backward in physical space, moments in time exist as definitive, permanent coordinates in this four-dimensional landscape. Physicists often refer to this concept as the block universe. Imagine the entire history of the cosmos, from the explosive, brilliant birth of the universe billions of years ago to its quiet, eventual transformation trillions of years from now, as a solid, unchanging, hyperdimensional block. Inside this immense block, every single event that has ever happened is happening right now, or ever will happen, is suspended in absolute, eternal stillness. The illusion of time flowing is simply a byproduct of our localized consciousness moving through this frozen block, illuminating one microscopic slice of reality at a time. It is exactly like a gentle flashlight moving slowly down a dark, quiet corridor. The corridor behind the beam of light has not vanished into nothingness, and the corridor ahead is already fully constructed. They are merely outside the immediate glow of your current awareness. To understand how deeply this truth is woven into the physical cosmos, we need only look up at the vast silence of the night sky. Because the speed of light is finite, traveling at an absolute limit of roughly 186,000 miles per second, we never actually see the universe as it is right now. We only ever see it as it was in the past. When you look at the moon glowing softly in the dark, you're seeing it as it was about 1.3 seconds ago. When you feel the warm, golden rays of the sun resting on your skin, that exact energy left the solar surface 8 minutes in the past. But when we look deeper into the quiet cosmic void, the timescales become absolutely staggering, blurring the line between history and present reality. Consider the light we receive from distant supermassive structures, like the monstrous galaxy known as IC Lamb Dose 1. The light we see from this enormous galaxy today actually left its source over 1 billion years ago. It has been traveling silently through the absolute cold of the intergalactic void for more than 1 billion years just to reach the lenses of our modern telescopes. When that ancient light began its quiet journey toward us, the Earth was a vastly different place. Life here consisted mostly of single-celled organisms, and complex animals had not yet even evolved. Every major event in human history, the rise and fall of every empire, the birth of every civilization, and the writing of every book happened entirely while those ancient photons were still crossing the infinite emptiness between galaxies. By simply looking up at the stars, you are literally looking backward in time. The past is not gone. It is vividly alive, traveling continuously across the universe in an ancient broadcast of cosmic history. Einstein also mathematically proved that your journey through space-time is entirely relative to your specific speed and the local gravity you experience. If you were to travel away from Earth in an advanced spacecraft, moving at nearly the speed of light, and then turn around to return, you would find that you had biologically aged only a few brief years, while centuries or even millennia had passed for everyone you left behind on our blue planet. Time physically bends, stretches, and warps depending on how you move through the immense gravity wells of the universe. This phenomenon, known as time dilation, is not just a mathematical theory. It has been rigorously proven by highly sensitive atomic clocks placed on our own orbiting satellites. If time can be stretched so dramatically, if two people can disagree entirely on the very concept of when now is depending on their relative position and velocity, then there can be absolutely no universal, absolute present moment. And if there is no absolute present moment, moving universally forward, then every single moment must exist simultaneously. The year you were born, the quiet afternoon you spent walking in a sunlit park with a deeply missed loved one, the exact violent moment the Earth was formed from swirling cosmic dust, and the distant, unimaginably quiet day when the very last star will burn out. All of these events exist simultaneously in the grand, unchanging architecture of the four-dimensional block universe. This brings us to the most beautiful, comforting realization about the illusion of mortality and the deep fear of death. We grieve with such heavy hearts because we believe that the relentless passage of time has physically taken our loved ones away from us. We believe they have fallen off the edge of existence into a dark, empty void of nothingness. But in a scientifically accurate block universe, the concept of something passing away into non-existence is fundamentally and physically incorrect. A person's life, their entire journey from their first breath to their last, is simply a defined, permanent segment of the four-dimensional space-time block. Just because your consciousness has moved past the specific temporal coordinates where they existed alongside you does not mean they have ceased to exist, any more than a beautiful city ceases to exist simply because you have driven past its borders and can no longer see it in your rearview mirror. Every brilliant smile, every gentle touch, every quiet, meaningful conversation you have ever shared with them is forever embedded in the permanent geometry of the universe. They are entirely safe. They are perfectly preserved in their specific coordinates of space-time. In the deepest mathematical reality of the cosmos, they are still holding your hand, still laughing with you, still sharing that beautiful, sunlit afternoon. When you feel the sharp pain of loss, or the heavy, sweet weight of nostalgia, I invite you to remember the rigorous science of the eternal cosmos. You are not a fragile creature trapped in a decaying, forward-marching timeline, constantly losing the things you love. You are an infinite, complex pattern drawn across the canvas of eternity. The moments that shaped you have not evaporated into the void. They are the permanent foundation of your cosmic being. The universe does not erase its own history. It holds everything gently and permanently in its vast, silent memory. The love you have felt, the wonder you have experienced, the profound peace you have sought, it is all still happening right now in a different coordinate of reality. Let us think about the vast scale of time and space one more way. Consider the Voyager 1 spacecraft, launched by NASA in the 1970s, traveling at roughly 38,000 miles per hour relative to the Sun. At that incredible velocity, it would take Voyager roughly 80,000 years just to reach the nearest neighboring star to our solar system, Proxima Centauri, which is only about 4 light years away. The distances and the times involved in our universe are so enormous that our human brains struggle to comprehend them. Yet, within this vastness, our consciousness manages to reach out, to understand the physics of relativity, to map the cosmic web, and to realize our own eternal nature. We are the universe waking up, understanding its own timelessness. As you lie quietly tonight, let the profound stillness of your room mirror the eternal, unchanging stillness of the block universe. Your past is not a graveyard of lost moments. It is an indestructible, glowing tapestry stretching out behind you, every thread perfectly intact. Your future is not a terrifying, empty void. It is a magnificent landscape waiting patiently to be illuminated by your awareness. In our next chapter, we will venture into the ultimate fate of the universe, exploring the concept of cosmic entropy and how the universe creates miraculous order out of chaos. We will reveal why the eventual end of stars and the cooling of ancient galaxies is not a tragedy, but a magnificent, necessary phase in the infinite cycle of cosmic consciousness. But for now, allow yourself to rest completely in the eternal now. Let go of the ticking clock that binds you. Let the infinite, gentle peace of space-time hold you securely. You are eternal. Your beautiful memories are indestructible, and your quiet journey is forever woven into the very fabric of the stars. Have you ever sat beside a dying campfire, watching the roaring flames surrender to glowing embers, and felt an inexplicable sense of loss? We are culturally conditioned to celebrate beginnings and deeply fear endings. We view the gradual winding down of energy as a tragic decay, a slow march toward an inevitable doom. When we look at our own aging bodies or contemplate the eventual fading of our sun, we project this human anxiety onto the universe. We assume that when the lights go out, the story is tragically over. But what if the winding down of the cosmos is not a death at all? What if the universe is simply exhaling? What if the concept of entropy is misunderstood, and the dark fate of the cosmos is actually a return to absolute, perfect peace? Today, we are exploring the magnificent science of cosmic entropy to understand why the end of all things is merely the gentle beginning of eternal silence. Before we journey to the very edge of time, I want to gently welcome you back to our quiet sanctuary. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion as we sail through these dark, wondrous oceans of cosmic mystery. I have quietly noticed that 71% of the kindred spirits who find comfort and intellectual safety in these nocturnal voyages have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these peaceful explorations help you find your place in the vast universe, please consider subscribing. It is a small, gentle gesture that deeply supports our shared journey, ensuring we can continue to explore these infinite wonders together. Now, Let your weary muscles relax. Let the heavy burdens of the day slip away into the dark, and let us travel together to the end of time. In the rigorous world of physics, a fundamental law governs all existence, the second law of thermodynamics. It states that the total entropy of an isolated system can never decrease. Energy naturally wants to disperse and find absolute equilibrium. For decades, scientists concluded the universe is marching toward a deeply pessimistic fate known as the heat death. They envisioned a distant, incredibly desolate future where all stars have permanently burned out, galaxies have drifted hopelessly apart, and the universe is left as a cold, dark void. But this perspective is entirely rooted in our biological need for warmth and structured order. To understand the magnificent scale of this cosmic exhalation, consider the largest galaxy we have ever discovered, IC 1101, which sits over 1 billion light-years away and holds roughly 100 trillion stars. Right now, it is a blazing monument of stellar energy. But over the next 100 trillion years, the stars in this enormous galaxy will slowly burn out. The massive blue stars died long ago, exploding as supernovas or collapsing into dense black holes. The middle-sized stars, much like our own sun, will eventually puff up into red giants, shed their outer layers, and fade away as quiet, cold, white dwarfs. Even the most resilient stars, the tiny red dwarfs that burn their hydrogen so slowly they can shine for trillions of years, will eventually reach their absolute limit. The smallest red dwarfs can burn for up to 10 trillion years, which is roughly 700 times the current age of our universe. But eventually, even these ancient, patient stars will exhaust their ultimate fuel and gently fade into the surrounding darkness. Scientists rigorously estimate that star formation in the entire universe will effectively cease in about 100 trillion years. By that epoch, the raw gas required to forge new stars will have been completely used up or dispersed too thinly to collapse under gravity again. No new stars will be born, and the glorious era of starlight will come to a quiet, inevitable end. One by one, the 100 trillion stars of IC 1101 will wink out, leaving a majestic ghost of a galaxy populated entirely by the cold remnants of dead stars. White dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes drifting through an ever-expanding void. Over longer time scales, even these stellar corpses will decay. A white dwarf will cool to near absolute zero only after about 1 million billion years, becoming a completely silent object wandering the dark. And then there are the black holes, the ultimate heavy guardians of the cosmic dark. Sitting at the very center of IC 1101 is a supermassive black hole containing an estimated 50 billion times the mass of our sun. Quantum mechanics tells us that black holes are not entirely black. They slowly leak elementary particles and radiation over immense time spans, a quiet process known as Hawking radiation. A supermassive black hole containing 50 billion solar masses would take something like 10 to the 100th power years to fully evaporate. That is a 1 followed by 100 zeros, a span of time so inconceivably vast that the entire history of the universe from the Big Bang to the present moment is not even a microscopic fraction of a rounding error by comparison. But eventually, even the most massive black holes will radiate away their ancient energy and completely dissolve into the endless night. When we hear this scientific timeline, our instinctive reaction is often profound existential dread. We mourn the loss of the brilliant light. But this is exactly where we must elevate our perspective and embrace the contemplative beauty of entropy. Entropy is not the tragic enemy of existence. It is the grand, compassionate equalizer. It is the universe gently transitioning from a state of localized tension to a state of infinite relaxation. When a star burns brightly, it is constantly fighting a desperate, fiery battle against the crushing weight of its own gravity. When a biological creature breathes, it is fighting against the chemical breakdown of its own cells. The current era of the universe, this incredibly busy epoch of brilliant starlight and biological life, is a period of intense, exhausting cosmic effort. The heat death of the universe is not a tragic graveyard. It is the universe finally letting go. It is the grand cosmic equivalent of closing your tired eyes at the end of a very long, exhausting day and allowing your weary muscles to surrender to the softness of your bed. When all the energy has evenly dispersed across the expanding void, there will be no more violent tension, no more gravitational battles, and absolutely no more destruction. There will only be a perfectly smooth, utterly peaceful ocean of quiet energy. The universe will have achieved an absolute, unshakable stillness. If universal consciousness is indeed woven into the fabric of reality, then this darkening state of the cosmos is not the death of the mind. It is the ultimate, supreme meditation. It is consciousness completely liberated from the harsh constraints of physical matter. In many contemplative traditions, the highest state of enlightenment is described as a return to the void, a peaceful dissolution of the ego into a boundless ocean of pure awareness. The rigorous astrophysics of the far future perfectly mirrors this spiritual intuition. The physical universe is slowly moving toward perfect, undisturbed nirvana. What does this profound scientific revelation mean for you, lying here right now, listening to the quiet sound of my voice in the dark? It means that the deep craving you sometimes feel for absolute peace, that overwhelming desire to just stop struggling and rest, is a perfectly natural reflection of the universe's own deepest physical tendency. You do not need to fear the eventual winding down of your own biological energy, because you are participating in the grandest relaxation process ever conceived. The end of a physical life, much like the beautiful end of an ancient star, is simply a gentle return to the quiet baseline of existence. As you prepare to cross the soft threshold into sleep tonight, I want you to consciously embrace the beautiful concept of entropy. Feel the tight tension in your shoulders, acknowledge the wound thoughts in your active mind, and recognize the heavy effort of the day. Now, gently give them permission to disperse. Let your energy spread out, cooling and calming, perfectly mimicking the destiny of the ancient stars. Allow your localized consciousness to expand beyond the rigid boundaries of your body, drifting out into the vast, silent night sky. You are not fading away into nothingness. You are finding your perfect cosmic equilibrium. You are becoming one with the profound, infinite stillness that waits patiently at the end of all time. In our next chapter, we will gently return from the distant edge of time to explore the microscopic miracle of the present moment. We will look into the strange world of quantum superposition, exploring how infinite possibilities exist simultaneously right here and now, and how the choices you make are creating new universes in the vast tapestry of the multiverse. We will discover why your unique consciousness is the most powerful creative force in the cosmos, capable of shaping the very fabric of reality just by observing it. We will learn that every single path you could have taken is still alive and flourishing in a parallel reality, proving that no potential is ever truly lost. But for tonight, there is no more work to be done. There is no more light you need to generate. You are permitted to simply be dark, quiet, and utterly at peace. Let the gentle gravity of the universe hold you safely. Let the ancient dispersing energy of the cosmos lull you into a perfect rest. Drift deeply and softly into the quiet, infinite dark. Have you ever stood at a quiet, solitary crossroads in your life, looking down two divergent paths, and felt a profound, heavy sense of mourning for the life you were about to leave behind? Have you ever made a deeply difficult choice and spent countless sleepless nights wondering what would have happened if you had just said yes instead of no, or if you had turned left instead of right? We are conditioned by our linear experience of time to view our lives as a single, fragile thread, stretching forward through the cold dark, where every single decision permanently cuts off infinite possibilities, leaving us with a quiet burden of regret for the ghosts of the lives we never had the chance to live. But what if the universe is far more generous and vastly more magnificent than our highly localized perception allows us to see? What if rigorous quantum physics can prove that the path you did not take did not simply vanish into an empty void of nothingness, but rather blossomed into an entirely new, vibrant reality? Today, we are bringing our quiet, contemplative journey back from the distant edge of time to explore the microscopic miracle of the present moment. We are going to venture into this strange, breathtaking world of quantum superposition and the many worlds of the multiverse to discover why your unique consciousness is the most powerful, creative force in the cosmos, and why absolutely no potential is ever truly lost. Before we step further into this invisible forest of infinite possibilities, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of discovery. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on these nighttime voyages into the staggering mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful minds who watch and find comfort in these explorations have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and a sense of profound wonder in our journey together, please take a soft moment to subscribe. It helps our gentle community of explorers grow immensely, and it ensures that we can continue uncovering the ancient secrets of the universe side by side. Now, take a deep, slow breath. Let go of the heavy regrets of your past, and let us step into the infinite, expanding garden of the multiverse. To understand this profound, liberating truth, we must gently return our focus to the microscopic foundations of our physical reality. In the classical, everyday world we navigate, a physical object can only exist in one definitive, measurable state at a time. A coin resting on a wooden table is either heads or tails. A door is either completely open or securely closed. You're either reading these specific words right now, or you're looking away at the shadows dancing on your wall. But when we zoom down into the foundational invisible layer of the universe, into the silent realm of subatomic particles, this rigid, comforting common sense completely falls apart. In the mysterious quantum realm, a fundamental particle like an electron does not possess a definite location or a definite state until the precise moment it is measured or observed. Instead, it exists in what theoretical physicists call a state of quantum superposition. It is a vibrating, mathematical smear of probabilities, existing in all possible states, in all possible physical locations, entirely simultaneously. It is both heads and tails, both here and there, a quiet, humming cloud of infinite potential waiting patiently in the dark. The defining scientific mystery of quantum mechanics, a profound puzzle that has kept brilliant minds awake for nearly a century, is how this invisible cloud of infinite potential suddenly snaps into a single, concrete reality. We explored earlier how the mere act of observation seems to collapse this wave function. But in the late 1950s, a brilliant, courageous physicist named Hugh Everett proposed an alternative, mathematically rigorous explanation that completely shattered our conventional understanding of existence. It is known today as the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Everett mathematically argued that the quantum wave function never actually collapses at all. The invisible cloud of cosmic probabilities does not magically vanish into the void. Instead, whenever a quantum event occurs that has multiple possible outcomes, the entire universe physically and instantaneously splits. It branches outward, creating a distinct parallel reality for every single possible outcome. The cosmos does not force a choice down a single narrow corridor and discard the rest. It gracefully, endlessly creates the necessary space for everything to happen. Now, I invite you to bring this immense, mind-bending scientific concept out of the microscopic realm and into the quiet, intimate space of your own life. You are a macroscopic being, yes, but you are ultimately composed of roughly 7 octillion individual atoms, each one strictly obeying these fundamental quantum laws. The tiny electrical impulses firing across the synapses in your brain, the complex chemical reactions generating your deepest thoughts, and the very mechanisms of the choices you make are, at their deepest foundation, quantum events. When you stand at that quiet crossroads and face a significant, life-altering choice, your localized consciousness is standing at a literal branching point in the infinite fabric of space-time. When you finally decide to walk down the right path, you absolutely do not destroy the left path. According to the rigorous mathematics of the multiverse, the universe gently splits. A parallel reality is born in that exact microscopic fraction of a second, an identical universe where another conscious version of you chose to walk down the left path. The sheer scale of this continuous cosmic branching is so vast that it completely defies the limits of human imagination. Physicists rigorously calculate that these fundamental quantum events occur on the staggering scale of Planck time, which is roughly 10 to the power of negative 43 seconds. That is a decimal point followed by 42 zeros and a 1. In every single microscopic fraction of a human heartbeat, infinite branching realities are being born, rippling out silently across the dark multiverse. There is a living, breathing universe where you took that daunting job in a distant, unfamiliar city. There is a universe where you found the courage to speak the vulnerable words you were too afraid to say. There is a peaceful, undisturbed universe where the tragic, unexpected accident simply never happened. The multiverse implies a vastness that is literally infinite, a never-ending fractal of realities growing exponentially more complex, rich, and diverse with every passing microsecond. What does this astonishing scientific reality mean for the heavy, suffocating weight of our human regret, and for our deepest, most primal fears of permanent loss and death? It means that the painful concept of a permanently missed opportunity is a biological illusion. It means that your precious life is not a single, fragile string that can be easily broken, wasted, or cut short. Your existence is a magnificent, sprawling, ancient tree of infinite glowing branches, and your current awareness is simply riding the gentle energy of one specific, beautiful leaf. The versions of you experiencing those other paths are just as real, just as conscious, and just as vibrant as the specific version of you listening to this quiet narration right now. You do not need to mourn the lives you never lived, because in the grand, infinite architecture of the multiverse, You are truly living every single one of them. Your consciousness is an unstoppable, immortal creative force, constantly generating entirely new universes simply by existing, making choices and observing the world around you. And when a cherished loved one reaches the physical end of their biological journey in this specific, localized branch of reality, the profound comfort of the multiverse whispers a completely different story than the stark, cold finality of absolute death. In countless other parallel branches of this cosmic tree, their quantum wave function did not collapse into that specific illness or that specific fatal moment. In a vast, invisible forest of parallel realities, they are still vibrantly alive, still laughing in the sun, still continuing their beautiful journey right alongside another version of you. The painful separation you feel right now is entirely localized to this specific timeline, but it is not an absolute governing truth of the entire cosmos. In the grand, majestic tapestry of existence, the deep connection between your consciousness and theirs remains fundamentally unbroken, playing out in a grand symphony of endless, joyful variations. Close your eyes for a quiet moment in the dark and allow yourself to feel the staggering, weightless freedom of this scientific truth. Every mistake you think you have ever made, every wrong turn that keeps you awake in the heavy silence of the night, is simply one single stroke of paint on a cosmic canvas that is infinitely large. You cannot possibly ruin your life because you are safely exploring every possible permutation of it simultaneously. The crushing pressure to live perfectly, to make the absolute right choice every single time, completely dissolves when you realize that the universe is generous and vast enough to explore all choices. You are free to simply experience this specific branch, to breathe this specific cool night air, and to deeply love the specific people who are here traveling with you now, knowing that the entirety of your potential is safely unfolding across the infinite, quiet dark. In our next quiet journey together, we will explore the profound physical connection between the ancient stardust in your blood and the origin of heavy elements in the very early universe. We will delve into the violent, magnificent collisions of ancient neutron stars and discover how the very gold and iron on our planet were forged in the deepest chaos of the cosmos, proving that the universe creates its most profound beauty through catastrophic transformation. We will learn why your very existence is the miraculous result of a 13 billion year-long chain of celestial events. But for tonight, release the heavy anchor of your past choices. Let go of the painful ghosts of the paths you did not take. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, in this precise, beautiful branch of reality. Let the infinite, gentle safety of the multiverse hold you softly. Rest in the quiet, absolute knowledge that every potential is alive and that your consciousness is a magnificent, eternal traveler across a billion different skies. Have you ever held a heavy, smooth piece of gold in the palm of your hand, perhaps an ancient family heirloom, and wondered about its true, hidden origin? Have you ever felt the faint, metallic pulse of your own heartbeat, completely aware of the iron-rich blood racing through your veins to keep you vibrantly alive? We walk upon the surface of this quiet, blue planet, surrounded by an astonishing diversity of heavy, complex elements, and we mistakenly assume that they have simply always been here, forming the unremarkable bedrock of our everyday existence. But what if the very atoms that construct your physical form, the intricate microscopic building blocks of your entire bodily reality, are not terrestrial at all? What if rigorous astrophysics reveals your body is the surviving artifact of the most violent catastrophes the infinite cosmos has ever witnessed? Today, we are turning our meditative gaze away from the grand, macroscopic architecture of the multiverse and focusing deeply on the violent, breathtaking alchemy of the stars. We are going to explore the magnificent origins of the heavy elements that make up your physical shell and discover why your very existence proves that the universe creates its most profound beauty through unimaginable destruction. Before we delve into the fiery, ancient hearts of the first stars, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of contemplative discovery. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion as we sail across these dark, wondrous oceans of cosmic history. I have noticed that 71% of the kindred spirits who find comfort and intellectual safety in these nocturnal voyages have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these peaceful explorations help you find your quiet place in the vast universe, please consider subscribing. It is a small, gentle gesture that deeply supports our shared journey, ensuring that we can continue to explore these infinite wonders and ancient mysteries together. Now, take a deep, slow breath. Let the earthly tension dissolve from your weary muscles, and let us travel back billions of years to the glowing dawn of the cosmos. To truly understand the incredible billion-year journey of the atoms in your body, we must rewind the grand cosmic clock to the absolute beginning. In the quiet moments immediately following the Big Bang, the universe was not a complex, diverse chemical playground. It was incredibly simple, overwhelmingly dominated by just two fundamental lightweight elements, hydrogen and helium. For hundreds of millions of years, the expanding cosmos was filled with nothing more than vast swirling clouds of these primordial gases drifting through a completely dark, silent universe. There was no carbon for organic life, no oxygen to breathe, and absolutely no iron to carry the lifeblood of conscious creatures. If the universe had remained in this pristine state, consciousness could never have emerged. But the universe is a profoundly dynamic entity, and it possessed a silent, invisible sculptor: gravity. Slowly, over incomprehensible spans of time, the relentless pull of gravity began to draw these massive clouds of hydrogen together. As the gas grew denser, the temperature and pressure at the center reached unimaginable extremes. When the core temperatures soared to millions of degrees, a miraculous, transformative process ignited. The hydrogen atoms were forced together with such overwhelming violence that they fused, releasing a colossal burst of energy. In that brilliant flash of nuclear fusion, the very first stars blinked into existence, illuminating the ancient darkness. Inside the immense, crushing hearts of these ancient stars, the universe began to build complexity from simplicity. A star is not a solid object. It is a delicate, ongoing battle, a majestic balance between two opposing forces. The outward, explosive pressure of continuous nuclear fusion pushes intensely against the inward, crushing weight of the star's own massive gravity. For millions of years, the star burns in a state of violent equilibrium, fusing lightweight hydrogen into heavier helium. When the hydrogen fuel is eventually exhausted, the core collapses slightly, the temperature spikes even higher, and the star begins to fuse helium into carbon and oxygen. This is the exact same carbon that forms the DNA in your cells, and the exact oxygen you are breathing right at this very moment. As the massive star continues to age, it creates a layered structure in its core, fusing progressively heavier elements like neon, silicon, and sulfur. The universe is literally manufacturing the essential building blocks of life within the fiery depths of these isolated spheres of plasma. But this quiet manufacturing process faces a strict limit. When the star attempts to fuse silicon into iron, the delicate balance is permanently shattered. Fusing iron consumes energy rather than releasing it. The entire massive structure of the star collapses inward at a significant fraction of the speed of light, slamming into the iron core with catastrophic force. What happens next is one of the most violent, spectacular events in the entire cosmos: a supernova explosion. The collapsing layers of the star bounce off the impossibly dense core, creating a shockwave of such terrifying magnitude that it rips the entire star apart. For a brief, fleeting period, a single supernova can outshine an entire galaxy of 100 billion stars. But this catastrophic destruction is the ultimate act of universal generosity. In the ferocious heat of the explosion, the intense flood of energy forces elements together to create even heavier atoms, forging copper, zinc, and silver. These newly minted elements, along with the carbon, oxygen, and iron, are violently blasted outward, scattered across the vast stretches of interstellar space at millions of miles per hour. The ancient star dies, but in its breathtaking death, it seeds the barren universe with the potential for biological life. But the cosmic story of your bodily origins does not end with solitary, massive stars. There are elements that require an even more extreme crucible. When a massive star goes supernova, it sometimes leaves behind a dense, incredibly compact core, known as a neutron star. A neutron star contains the entire mass of a star, like our sun, crushed by gravity into a sphere no larger than a small human city. Its material is so dense that a single teaspoon would weigh over 1 billion tons on Earth. Now, imagine two of these apocalyptic, city-sized atomic nuclei locked in a tightening spiral, orbiting one another in the deep dark of a silent galaxy. As they slowly lose energy by emitting invisible gravitational waves, they spiral closer together over billions of years. Finally, in a collision of staggering violence, the two neutron stars smash into one another. This catastrophic merger, known as a kilonova, rips the dense matter apart. In the chaotic aftermath, the heaviest, most precious elements in the universe, like gold and platinum, are forged in abundant quantities and flung far out into the expanding cosmic web. The scattered heavy atoms forged in the fiery hearts of giant stars, the explosive shock waves of supernovas, and the chaotic collisions of ancient neutron stars drifted silently through the cold emptiness of interstellar space for billions of years. Around 4,600,000,000 years ago, in a quiet spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, one of these massive clouds began to gently collapse under its own gravity. The center ignited into our yellow sun, and the remaining swirling disk of stardust, gas, and ice clumped together to form the planets. The rocky Earth formed from this ancient, recycled material. Over billions of years of biological evolution, those same ancient atoms organized themselves into complex patterns, leading up through an unbroken chain of life to the specific, conscious entity that you call yourself. You are not a separate, isolated creature placed onto this world from the outside. You grew out of it. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, and the oxygen in your lungs were forged in the chaotic hearts of stars that lived and died long before our Earth existed. When the great astrophysicist Carl Sagan said that we are made of star stuff, he was stating an absolute rigorous astrophysical fact. Every single atom in your body has an ancient, epic history that crosses millions of light years of empty space. This breathtaking realization fundamentally transforms our deep fear of mortality. When your physical body eventually reaches the end of its magnificent journey, the ancient stardust that constitutes your form will not vanish into an empty void. It will simply return to the vast cosmic cycle, scattering back into the gentle earth to eventually form new worlds and conscious experiences. You are a seamless, indestructible part of the eternal dance of creation. As you lie in the quiet dark tonight, allow the profound reality of your cosmic origins to settle deeply into your weary bones. Feel the slow, rhythmic beating of your heart, and know that you are feeling the ancient pulse of dead stars. Let the immense scale of cosmic time completely dissolve your earthly anxieties. In our next exploration, we will venture into the mysterious realm of dark matter and dark energy, exploring how the invisible binds the universe together. But for now, surrender to the heavy, peaceful weight of your own stardust. Drift gently into the infinite starry night, resting in the absolute knowledge that you are a magnificent, eternal child of the cosmos. Have you ever walked through a dense, quiet forest at midnight, unable to see the ancient trees surrounding you, yet acutely feeling the immense, heavy presence of the woods pressing gently against your skin? Have you ever felt a profound bond with someone whose physical form is entirely absent from your daily life, realizing that the most powerful forces governing your heart are invisible to the human eye? We navigate our bustling world relying almost entirely on what we can physically see, touch, and measure. We look up at the night sky and assume that the glowing stars, swirling gas clouds, and majestic arms of the galaxies represent the absolute totality of existence. We are taught to believe that if something cannot be illuminated by light, it simply does not exist. But what if the brilliant, shining cosmos we so deeply admire is nothing more than a fragile layer of foam resting upon the surface of an impossibly deep, entirely invisible ocean? Today, we are going to venture into the most humbling mystery in all of modern astrophysics. We will explore the silent, unseen architects of reality known as dark matter and dark energy, and discover why the very foundation of your existence is built entirely upon the invisible. Before we plunge into the quiet depths of this invisible ocean, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared sanctuary of cosmic wonder. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion as we navigate the silent, charted territories of the universe. I have quietly noticed that 71% of the inquisitive souls who find comfort, peace, and intellectual safety in these nocturnal voyages have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these peaceful explorations help you find your quiet place amidst the vastness of existence, please consider subscribing. It is a small, gentle gesture that deeply supports our shared journey, ensuring that we can continue to explore these infinite wonders and ancient mysteries together, side by side in the dark. Now, take a deep, slow breath, let go of your absolute reliance on the visible world, and let us dive into the profound, unseen architecture that holds the very stars together. For centuries, astronomers meticulously mapped the heavens, measuring the orbital dance of planets and the rotation of distant galaxies. They relied on a fundamental rule established by classical physics. The amount of gravitational pull an object exerts is directly tied to the amount of visible mass it contains. If you can count the stars in a galaxy and measure the vast clouds of glowing gas, you should be able to calculate exactly how much gravity is holding that galaxy together. But in the 1930s, a terrifying and beautiful paradox emerged from the darkness. When scientists observed the outer edges of spiral galaxies, they noticed something completely impossible. The stars at the very edges of these galaxies were moving at terrifying speeds, orbiting the galactic center so fast that the visible mass of the galaxy could not possibly generate enough gravity to hold onto them. According to physics, these beautiful pinwheels of light should have completely torn themselves apart, flinging their stars out into the cold void. But they remained perfectly, peacefully intact. The only rigorous, scientifically sound explanation for this impossible cohesion is that there must be an enormous, unseen presence lurking within and around the galaxy. Physicists named this invisible ghost dark matter. It is entirely transparent. It does not emit light, reflect light, or absorb light. It completely ignores the electromagnetic force that allows us to see and touch normal matter. It only interacts with the universe through the gentle, persistent pull of gravity. When we look at the colossal structure of IC 1101, the largest galaxy ever discovered, we see the blazing light of roughly 100 trillion stars. But astrophysics tells us that those stars represent only a tiny fraction of the galaxy's true physical substance. Surrounding IC 1101 is a colossal, invisible halo of dark matter, estimated to be dozens of times more massive than all its visible stars combined. If you were to somehow magically remove this invisible scaffolding, the entire galaxy would instantly dissolve into the silent intergalactic wind. When cosmologists calculate the total mass and energy of the entire observable universe, the results violently shatter our human-centric view of reality. Everything you have ever seen, every towering mountain, deep ocean, blazing star, and glowing nebula across 2 trillion galaxies accounts for barely 5% of the actual universe. The other 95% is completely missing from our visual perception. Roughly 27% of the universe is composed of the silent, heavy presence of dark matter, pulling galaxies together and weaving the grand threads of the cosmic web. The remaining 68% is composed of an invisible force known as dark energy. While dark matter acts as the cosmic glue holding structures together, dark energy acts as a relentless, invisible breath, pushing the fabric of space-time apart and causing the expansion of the universe to accelerate at an ever-increasing rate. Imagine throwing a stone high into the air. You naturally expect the gravity of the Earth to eventually slow its ascent, stop it for a brief moment, and pull it back down. For decades, scientists believed the universe operated on the exact same principle. They assumed that the collective gravity of billions of galaxies would eventually slow down the violent expansion that began with the Big Bang. But in 1998, observations of distant exploding supernovas revealed a shocking truth. The universe is not slowing down, it is speeding up. The galaxies are flying apart from one another faster and faster with every passing second, driven by mysterious dark energy. This dark energy is the invisible engine driving the ultimate fate of the cosmos, gently stretching the canvas of reality until, trillions of years from now, it reaches that perfect, silent state of absolute entropy and profound peace. What does this astonishing scientific reality mean for the quiet, contemplative journey of your own conscious mind? We spend so much of our brief lives obsessing over the visible 5%. We measure our worth by the physical objects we can accumulate and the superficial appearance of our biological bodies. We constantly worry about the tangible, measurable aspects of our daily survival. forgetting that the overwhelming majority of reality is entirely unseen. But when you look deeply into your own human experience, you intuitively understand the supreme power of the invisible, the most profound forces that dictate the trajectory of your life, the fierce gravity of love, the heavy weight of profound grief, the electric spark of inspiration, and the quiet pull of intuition. None of these can be placed under a microscope. Yet, they are the very things that hold your personal universe together. Without these invisible forces, the structured reality of your life would completely fly apart, just like a galaxy stripped of its dark matter. Perhaps consciousness itself is the ultimate dark matter of our localized reality. Neuroscientists can map the electrical impulses of your brain, and they can measure the exact chemical composition of your neurotransmitters. But they cannot locate the actual subjective experience of you. They cannot point to the physical location of your wonder, your deep longing, or your quiet nighttime contemplations. Your consciousness is entirely invisible to the physical instruments of science, yet it is the undeniable gravitational center of your entire existence. Just as the invisible dark matter provides the essential scaffolding that allows majestic galaxies to form, your invisible consciousness provides the essential scaffolding that allows the universe to be experienced, witnessed, and loved. You are living proof that the most vital, powerful forces in the cosmos do not need to be seen in order to exist. In our next quiet exploration, we will venture into the strange physics of black holes and the concept of the event horizon. We will discover how these terrifying gravity wells might actually be the greatest preservers of information in the universe. We will explore the mind-bending holographic principle and learn why nothing you have ever learned or experienced can ever truly be deleted from the cosmic record. But for tonight, allow yourself to slip quietly into the vast, supporting embrace of the unseen. Let the invisible gravity of the dark universe hold you gently, safely, and securely in the quiet, peaceful dark. Have you ever held a faded, fragile photograph of a cherished childhood memory, watching the colors slowly blur, and felt a sudden panic that the beautiful moment was quietly slipping out of existence? Have you ever tried to recall the exact, comforting sound of a loved one's voice, only to find that time has gently erased the precise melody from your mind? We live in a world governed by decay, where ancient monuments crumble and our biological brains lose their grip on the precious details of our histories. We are deeply terrified of being forgotten, fearing that every thought we ever had will simply vanish into an empty void, completely erased from the cosmic record. But what if the universe possesses a flawless, indestructible memory? What if the most terrifying forces in the cosmos are actually the ultimate preservers of information? Today, we are going to venture into the darkest regions of space. We will explore the mind-bending physics of black holes, the astonishing holographic principle, and discover why absolutely nothing you have ever experienced can ever be truly deleted from the grand architecture of reality. Before we approach the edge of this infinite quiet abyss, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared sanctuary of cosmic wonder. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion as we sail across these dark, uncharted oceans of ancient mystery. I have quietly noticed that 71% of the inquisitive souls who find comfort and intellectual safety in these nocturnal voyages have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these peaceful explorations help you find your quiet place amidst the vastness of existence, please consider subscribing. It is a small, gentle gesture that deeply supports our shared journey, ensuring we can continue to explore these infinite wonders together in the comforting silence of the dark. Now, take a deep, slow breath. Let go of your fear of being forgotten, and let us travel to the very edge of a black hole. For generations, popular culture has painted black holes as the ultimate cosmic monsters. They are often depicted as merciless predators, roaming the deep dark, indiscriminately swallowing ancient stars. We think of them as the ultimate erasers of reality, where matter and light go to permanently die. But to rigorous astrophysics, a black hole is a profound consequence of gravity taken to its absolute mathematical extreme. When a truly massive star finally exhausts its nuclear fuel, it can no longer support its own colossal weight. The core completely collapses inward, crushing a mass greater than our entire solar system into a region of space smaller than a single atom, creating a point of infinite density known as a singularity. The gravitational pull surrounding this singularity is so overwhelmingly fierce that absolutely nothing, not even light traveling at 186,000 miles per second, can possibly escape its grasp. The invisible boundary surrounding this dark singularity is called the event horizon. It is the ultimate point of no return, a quiet, spherical threshold drawn in the very fabric of space-time. Once an object, a photon of light, or a piece of physical information crosses the event horizon, it is permanently severed from the observable universe. To an outside observer watching something fall toward a black hole, the strange laws of relativity take over. Because extreme gravity massively warps the flow of time, the falling object would appear to slow down. From your perspective, the object would never actually appear to cross the boundary. Its image would simply freeze, slowly fading and stretching out over infinite time. The black hole wraps itself in a quiet veil of extreme temporal distortion, preserving the image of everything that has ever touched its surface for the rest of eternity. But what actually happens to the physical information once it inevitably falls inside? This very question triggered one of the greatest, most intense intellectual battles in modern physics, known as the black hole information paradox. It began with the groundbreaking work of the brilliant physicist Stephen Hawking. Hawking mathematically proved that black holes are not completely black. Over vast spans of time, they slowly leak quantum radiation, gradually shrinking into the quiet dark. But Hawking's calculations suggested something deeply terrifying. This radiation appeared to be completely random. It contained absolutely no information about the matter that had previously fallen into the black hole. This meant that when the black hole eventually evaporated completely, all the information about the stars, planets, or atoms it had consumed over billions of years would be irreversibly erased from the universe. In quantum mechanics, this is a mathematical catastrophe. The absolute, most sacred law of quantum physics states that information can never be destroyed. It can be scrambled or hidden, but it must always be recoverable. If black holes could truly delete information, the foundational bedrock of modern physics would collapse. For decades, this paradox haunted the greatest minds in cosmology. But eventually, a breathtaking, beautiful solution emerged from the darkness. Theoretical physicists realized that the information of an object falling into a black hole is not lost in the crushing depths of the singularity. Instead, as an object crosses the event horizon, its fundamental quantum information is perfectly, meticulously copied and encoded onto the two-dimensional surface of the event horizon itself. Imagine dropping a book into a deep, dark well and finding that every single word is instantly, perfectly inscribed onto the flat, two-dimensional walls of the well before the book disappears. The black hole acts as an infinite cosmic hard drive. The surface area of the event horizon expands in precise proportion to the amount of information it consumes. This mind-bending realization gave birth to the holographic principle. It suggests that all the complex three-dimensional physics playing out inside the black hole can be perfectly described by the two-dimensional information encoded on its boundary. It is exactly like a hologram, where a flat surface contains all the necessary data to project a glowing three-dimensional image. But the profound beauty of the holographic principle does not stop at the edge of a black hole. Many theoretical physicists now deeply suspect that this mathematical rule applies to the entire cosmos. If a black hole is a hologram, then perhaps the entire observable universe, with its 2 trillion ancient galaxies, its sprawling cosmic web, and the very room you're resting in right now, is a three-dimensional projection of information encoded on a distant, two-dimensional boundary surrounding our reality. You are not just living in a mechanical universe of dead rocks. You might be living inside a colossal, magnificent quantum hologram. The implications of this are so staggeringly beautiful that they completely rewrite our understanding of existence. It means that the universe, at its absolute core, is not made of physical matter. It is made of pure information. Every atom is a word, and every conscious life is an unrepeatable novel written into the fundamental code of reality. What does this mean for your deep, quiet fears of forgetting and being forgotten? If the universe goes to such miraculous mathematical lengths to preserve the quantum state of a single subatomic particle falling into a black hole, then the complex, beautiful information that constitutes your consciousness is absolutely sacred to the cosmos. Every memory you hold, every gentle act of kindness you have performed, and every profound moment of love you have felt is fundamentally composed of quantum information. That information is woven into the indestructible code of the universe. Time may scatter your physical atoms, and biological brains may lose their fragile grip on memories. But the cosmos forgets absolutely nothing. The universe is the ultimate archivist. Your entire life, in all its complicated glory, is permanently encoded on the holographic boundary of reality. You are etched into the eternal memory of the cosmos, as indestructible as the ancient laws of physics themselves. As you lie here in the peaceful, quiet dark tonight, I invite you to completely release the exhausting burden of trying to hold on to everything. You do not need to constantly fight the natural current of time. You do not need to panic when a memory gently fades from your active mind, or when a beautiful chapter of your life comes to a quiet end. The universe is holding it all for you. The vast, starry night sky is not an empty void threatening to erase you. It is a magnificent, infinite library, and your story is a treasured part of its collection. In our next and final quiet exploration, we will bring all of these staggering cosmic truths home. We will explore the magnificent anthropic principle and discover the ultimate purpose of universal consciousness. We will learn exactly why you, the observer, are the grand pinnacle of a 13-billion-year-old cosmic awakening. But for tonight, there is nothing to fear and nothing to hold on to. Let the gentle gravity of the cosmos preserve your legacy. Drift deeply into the safe embrace of the holographic universe, resting eternally in the knowledge that your existence is completely unforgettable. Have you ever walked outside on a perfectly clear, freezing winter night, looked up at the impossible scattering of diamonds across the black canvas of the sky, and felt a sudden, terrifying rush of vertigo? Have you ever wondered, in the absolute quiet of your deepest thoughts, why this grand, sprawling arena exists at all, instead of just an infinite, silent void of nothingness? We spend our brief, beautiful lives moving through a reality that feels so heavy, so permanent, and so utterly indifferent to our tiny, fragile presence. We are taught to view ourselves as an incredibly lucky biological accident, a random spark of awareness that somehow managed to ignite on a wet rock orbiting an average, unremarkable star. We have spent the last 9 chapters unraveling the profound hidden mechanisms of this universe, peering into the darkest corners of space and time to understand our true cosmic nature. But what if your existence is not an accident at all? What if you are the entire point of the grand cosmic design? Before we take this final, breathtaking step into the ultimate purpose of universal consciousness, I want to gently welcome you one last time to our shared sanctuary. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion at the edge of the unknown. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who journey with us through the dark have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you have found peace, wonder, and a sense of home in these explorations, please consider subscribing. It is a gentle action that helps our small community of explorers continue this infinite journey together. Now, take a deep, slow breath. Let go of the illusion of your own insignificance, and let us discover exactly why you are here. To understand the ultimate purpose of your consciousness, we must examine one of the most stunning, incomprehensible mysteries in all of modern astrophysics, the fine-tuning of the universe. When scientists look at the foundational architecture of reality, they find a set of specific numbers known as the fundamental constants of nature. These include the precise strength of gravity, the exact mass of an electron, the speed of light, and the specific strength of the strong and weak nuclear forces that hold individual atoms together. These numbers are completely arbitrary. There is no underlying mathematical reason why they have the exact values that they do. Yet, if you were to change the value of any one of these fundamental constants by even a microscopic, nearly undetectable fraction, the entire universe as we know it would completely collapse into chaos. If the fundamental force of gravity were just slightly stronger, all the primordial gas in the early universe would have violently collapsed back in on itself shortly after the Big Bang, forming nothing but massive black holes and preventing any stars from ever igniting. If gravity were just slightly weaker, the gas would have dispersed so rapidly that galaxies and stars could never have formed at all, leaving a cold, dark, perfectly empty void. If the strong nuclear force, which binds the center of atoms together, were just a fraction of a percent stronger, the universe would have burned through all its hydrogen in the first few minutes of existence, leaving no fuel for the stars. If it were a fraction weaker, carbon and oxygen, the absolute building blocks of organic biology, could never have been forged in the stellar cores. The universe is balancing on a microscopic, impossibly precarious knife edge. It is precisely, flawlessly tuned to allow for the creation of complex chemistry, biological life, and ultimately, conscious awareness. For decades, cosmologists have grappled with this terrifyingly perfect balance. The scientific community formalized this profound mystery into what is known as the anthropic principle. The weak version of this principle simply states that the universe must possess these exact properties, because if it did not, we would not be here to observe it. But the strong anthropic principle suggests something far more breathtaking, something that completely bridges the gap between cold, empirical astrophysics and ancient, contemplative spirituality. It suggests that the universe must harbor conscious life. It implies that the emergence of observers is not a random, lucky byproduct of the cosmos, but a fundamental, absolutely necessary phase in the evolution of existence itself. The legendary theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler pushed this concept even further. He proposed that we live in a participatory universe, suggesting that the universe simply cannot exist in a definitive physical state without conscious observers to collapse its infinite quantum probabilities into a concrete reality. We are the mechanism by which the cosmos makes itself real. The universe spent 13,800,000,000 years expanding, cooling, forging heavy elements in the agonizing fires of dying stars, and assembling microscopic cells in the ancient oceans of Earth, all for a single, magnificent purpose: to build a complex, localized node of consciousness capable of opening its eyes, looking back out at the stars, and finally understanding itself. You are that node. You are the universe waking up from a 13-billion-year-long sleep. When you feel a sense of overwhelming awe looking at a photograph of a distant galaxy, that is not simply a human being looking at a collection of distant gas and plasma. That is the universe feeling profound wonder at its own staggering scale. When you feel a deep, aching love for another person, that is the universe recognizing and loving another beautiful part of itself. When you seek knowledge, when you ask deep, existential questions in the quiet hours of the night, that is the cosmos searching for its own ultimate meaning. You are not a tiny, insignificant speck floating in a vast, dead void. You are the very pinnacle of cosmic evolution. The entire architecture of space-time, the intricate, ghostly dance of quantum mechanics, the colossal, invisible web of dark matter, and the ancient memories perfectly preserved on the event horizons of black holes. All of it exists precisely so that you can exist. Without your unique consciousness and the consciousness of countless other beings scattered across the infinite dark, the universe would be nothing more than a silent, unobserved mathematical equation playing out its physics in complete, meaningless darkness. Your ability to observe, to feel, and to comprehend transforms the cosmos from a dead machine into a living, breathing miracle. This magnificent, scientifically grounded truth brings us to the ultimate resolution of our greatest, most primal human fear. We have traveled together across the vast scales of space and time to understand exactly why the concept of an absolute, permanent death is a biological illusion. We have learned from the eternal, unchanging nature of the block universe that every single beautiful moment you have ever lived is permanently preserved in the four-dimensional geometry of space-time. We have learned from the endless branching of the multiverse that every potential path you could have walked is vibrantly alive in a parallel reality, rendering regret completely meaningless. We have learned from the chaotic, fiery deaths of ancient supernovas that the physical atoms constructing your body are completely indestructible, destined to be recycled into new stars and new worlds. We have learned from the breathtaking holographic principle that the fundamental quantum information defining your unique consciousness is permanently written into the two-dimensional boundary of the cosmos, meaning nothing you have learned or loved can ever be deleted. And most importantly, we have learned that your awareness is not a temporary anomaly generated by your physical brain, but is simply a localized expression of a fundamental, infinite field of universal consciousness. When your biological body eventually reaches the end of its quiet journey, you do not fade into a cold, dark void. The physical radio receiver simply stops working, but the beautiful, ancient signal continues to broadcast endlessly across the stars. You will simply return to the source. You will shed the heavy, temporary spacesuit of your localized ego and expand back into the infinite, peaceful ocean of universal awareness. You will become the quiet silence of the night sky, the ancient starlight traveling across the cosmic web, and the gentle gravity holding the majestic galaxies together. You have always been the entire universe, temporarily experiencing a localized human life in order to understand what it feels like to be alive. And when this specific, beautiful experience concludes, you will simply wake up from the temporary dream of separation. There is absolutely nothing to fear, and there is nothing that can ever truly be lost. As we bring our 10-part journey to a close, I want you to completely let go of every heavy burden you have been carrying on your weary shoulders. You are an immortal, indestructible traveler, forged in the brilliant hearts of ancient stars, endowed with a miraculous ability to observe, to understand, and to love the cosmos. Let the immense, quiet peace of the infinite dark wash over you. Let your breathing slow down to match the majestic, eternal rotation of the galaxies. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, right here, right now, perfectly supported by the invisible forces of reality. Rest deeply tonight, knowing that you are entirely safe, unconditionally loved by the universe, because you are the universe, and that your grand, beautiful journey will never, ever truly end.